precautions ensured, and that had dawned on us. Then I thought, I was pondering that this cannot be it. I'm missing something. So then I referred to the NAAC manual. I was the opinion that something cannot be so much mechanical and so much linear process. And while going through the NAAC manual, I came to a specific page, a specific paragraph that laid down the core values of NAAC. And that mentioned national development, fostering global competence, inculcating value system in the students, promoting technology, and a quest for excellence. Sounds familiar? It sounded familiar to me too. But where? How? What? And then from the ground, we raised our heads to the sky. And the greater reality was glaringly visible to us. All this MLD sir has already laid down. And when you ask about teaching learning, which the NAAC area 2 asked about teaching learning, you have it. MLD sir has written an entire chapter on education. You talk about professional development, we have another chapter. You talk about efficiency of evaluation, we have it. And we practice it. So when this shift came, this was the moment when the shift came in the perspective. And when there was this shift, there was appreciation of the artistry and the creativity that was laid down in the work that since the conception of this institute and even before it. And then the work did not remain to just compilation and collection, but it was a work of putting forth the excellence. And when this shift comes, when there is quest for excellence to deliver quality, that was the point when the passion generated. That was the time there is engagement. We raised our standards high. We moved out of our comfort zones. There was discipline, there was motivation, and in true sense, it was a journey towards yoga karmasu kaushalam. And this was my learning that by embracing the artistry within the work, we could deliver immense satisfaction from the process itself. And the reward which we have already achieved is far beyond any piece of paper that we'll ever receive. And we could cultivate a sense of fulfillment which will have a lasting impact, and this will carry us into the future. Thanks.
Thank you, Akshata. It was really a transforming sharing from you. I think the journey is almost parallel to many of us when we start some new work, new job, or new travel, which is being given to us and not being acquired or not being desired by us. But the journey definitely, if you commit to the values of the place, then it transforms. And it was a beautiful transformation of how one can transform oneself to a mechanical ritual, to a spiritual journey. So it's an internal movement which is so important in any of the tasks which needs quality, which aims quality. And from that perspective, I think it was a good start of a life at so early. So I hope you will continue, Akshata, this journey to quality with this vigor and new transformation. Now, Anup sir brought about the aspects of documentation and detailing. I think many of us don't like detailing. It's no, we are all man of action. Take actions and forget. So when we are talking of quality, are we talking of quality sustaining and being with our own self, or we want to document it, detail it, so that it can be repeated, it can be enhanced, it can be refined, and it can be further evolved with the change. So the journey of detailing becomes a very, very important. And when you have been asked to do it with the surroundings, with the people, with the document scattered, or with the half done, it becomes a Herculean task. But the moment you start doing detailing, whether it is SCR, whether it is work, whether it is presentation, whether it is reflection, if you have a detailed documentation, probably it helps you in further journey of your life to the quality. And I think Sonam is going to present the next topic, success is in detailing. And she will give us an insight that how detailing helps in our march, in our journey to the quality. So I welcome Dr. Sonam.
Good morning, one and all. Thank you, Bipin sir. I am Dr. Sonam, Assistant Professor in Practice of Medicine. So, in today's era, if you are standing still, you are falling. Making the right decision at the right time is very critical. So, keeping this thing in mind, the institute went ahead with the NAAC work. The NAAC process started by identifying the institute's vision and mission, which outlined the development of the future direction, the influences on which it operates, and the challenges one needs to face in order to fulfill them. So I was working on these two criteria. That is criteria number 5, student progression and support, and part B, homeopathy part. Now the criteria 5, it had 13 sub-criteria. So mostly it dealt with the student activities, that is the camp, cultural and sport activities, the anti-ragging harassment committees, all the committees were involved, plus the alumni activities. Part B was pure homeopathy part. It dealt entirely with homeopathy, including mode of professional ethics, behavior and humanitarian related courses, the herbal garden, NABH, and so on. Now the documentation and filing was done, but the further uploading was a bit tricky. So to understand this in a better way on how to upload it, we had a visit at St. John's Pharmacy College. So this was a complete eye opener to us, because in the process we got to know that we had many stakeholders. Like we have 5 stakeholders: student feedback, patient feedback, parents feedback, employee feedback, and alumni feedback. So considering all this, when we went here, so we got to know that it is very valuable. We got a valuable insight to plan on the strategies to improve the quality, process, procedure, structure. And further, we got to know how we need to do the compilation of the documents. So the compilation, how to convert the Word documents into PDF, how to merge the documents, how to compress a big file, a large file into a small file. So these all information we got from there. Now the learning post visit, what we got was the knowledge that we require in order to process with the NAC, the dedication we need, the coherency and consistency, the accuracy, appropriateness and organization in forming all these documents. Now regarding the detailing, so that criteria total there was 7 criteria plus part B, total 8 criteria. The sub criteria in all were 118, and the SSR, that was the first step of NAC. The SSR submission was done. It is a self-study report which consisted of 146 pages. Along with it, there were other files that were supposed to be uploaded on the college website and the NAC website. So
those were additional. Then next step was DVV, that is data validation and verification. When we were done with the SSR, we thought that yeah, it is done now and we have reached our goal. But it was not all. Next step was DVV, where we got to rework on 68 separate areas again. So they were so particular, they were so concise in relation to the documents. Information, as I earlier told, first we went for the NAC process, the registration was done, the confirmation was done, then the next step ahead was SSR. But again, we got an awareness that it is not done yet. We still need to move ahead. So we went with the DVV, and then finally we got cleared with the DVV. The qualities that we developed post DVV were that the documentation should be clear, it should be concise, it should be contemporaneous, it should be progressive and accuracy with proper organization of the documents. The learning, like what is the purpose of detailing? So MLD sir has quoted very beautifully, right action can save us from the consequences of wrong actions. So what was the purpose of detailing? To emphasize on the benefits of the institute, advertisement, to show the quality of work with which one can get influence. It cuts down the duplicative work and it increases the collective knowledge of everyone. The take home were discipline, foresight, honesty, courage to encounter the challenges. So these are must. I would like to end my presentation with a quote by MLD sir. Nothing succeeds like success. A dream come true. Fires many more. Go ahead, stay ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Sonam. Devil lies in details is what I go on telling the world. And the Sonam has graphically demonstrated to the world. If you have 118 files, 2000 plus pages, and more than 5 GB data existing in your institution, NAAC is saying that you need to do something more. So the sky is the limit. So detailing is desired, detailing is essential. But getting into details, you need fresh blood. Old horses can't learn new dances. So the fresh blood was brought in. I invite Chetna to go ahead with the latest entrant and the youngest of the lot, who ensured that the old and the new continue to dance well enough. So Chetna, please go ahead.
Thank you, Anup. A very pleasant morning to one and all gathered over here. At the very outset, I would like to thank administration for giving us opportunity to present our NAAC journey on the auspicious day of ICR. And myself, Dr. Chetna Satta, lecturer at the Poetry Department, and I was looking after Compendia 6 of NAAC. When talking about it, it talks about governance, leadership, and management. Yeah, like that, I was also confused. So I would like to start my journey with a quote. Quote given by the great Mahatma Gandhi, who has surrendered all his home on the light. Light, kindly lead. Life is all about hope, and light represents hope. Where hope succumbs, their life ends. With a lot of hopes, I stepped into MLDMHI as a student 3 years back. The excellence this institute holds and the teaching faculty, their knowledge and their expertise always fascinated me, and I always felt that this is far beyond my capacity to understand. And uh, the same incidents I got to experience at the very first meeting of NAAC. When I joined here as a lecturer, I was more focused than before. There was less confusion I felt. And this journey started in May, and my NAAC journey started in June. I would like to say, rather than NAAC journey, I felt NAAC infested our campus in the month of June as far as we junior faculty is concerned. It was already there, but we got involved in the month of June. So, uh, Meetings were happening, and there were brain-packing discussions with very difficult terminologies that we were not able to understand. And all I remember that the discussions and those which were going on, ideas they are pouring and how they are working towards the goal achievement. Knowing the perfection paramount the NAC was demanding, and I was being toddler over here, I felt that I would be involved in this journey. And I was thinking this won't come to me, so I didn't put my attention to it. Then later on, it happened. I was assigned a NAC criteria. Area 6, criteria 6, that is governance, leadership, management, and the supervision of Anup. Though it came to me, still I was quite relaxed. I was feeling that I had different aims and objectives, and I'll be focused on that. My focus was I'll be concentrating on clinical acumen and increasing my knowledge and enhancing my confidence on homeopathy. That was my primary objective. Then I didn't have a proper understanding and importance about NAC. It seemed very clerical to me. I had no interest. And I thought the visionary Amit is there, so I'll just follow his instruction, what he is saying, rather than putting my mind to it. There was no as such taking of responsibility. We were asked to collect the data, and I just jot down from the map parameter document, the manual which was there. I jot down the exhaustive list and I handed it over to the respective department. My criteria dealt mainly with the finance and management. So the list I handed over, and in that it was said me there was one statement: budget extract of audited statement towards grant receipt. I wrote it as it is. I handed it to the finance department. And she looked at me in a confusion, what do you want here? I was like, I thought you know it. That time I understood that it's not just asking what is there in the manual, rather than I should have proper understanding. When I went to my supervisor, I asked, this is the thing has happened. We are in the confusion. All he said that just go and ask whether we have utilization certificates. And yeah, it was perfectly fine. It was available to us. So this was an eye-opener incident for me. That this made me understand I need to have proper understanding rather than complaining about the intricacies and difficulties. I need to understand what is there in it. And after that, I started taking positive steps towards it. I started having basic understanding about my criteria and also about in general what NAC is and what other areas is. By having constant communication with my teammates, with seniors, I came to the ground reality, what is there, what is required. And this just transformed me from just being receptive to what supervisors are saying to foreseeing what best can be done in terms of enrichment of my criteria and upgrading the quality from that point of view. And there I realized the importance of taking responsibility in the hand when you're working anything. And that only make your enjoy a perfect enjoyment rather than just a burden or the burden of responsibility. This I realized on the day of NAC inspection when I was asked to deliver a presentation on one of the topic in very short time, and I could brief in that particular pressure. It was a NAC inspection. In that particular pressure, so without going into anticipation, I could brief what all the things which are there. To KMD sir, he gave me input what we have to do in the presentation, and I could deliver that presentation as expected in the right time. This I just feel that I feel contented with this that I could do it with all the confidence just because I had proper understanding and I took the responsibility of this. So one of the major learning I've taken is that whatever adverse might be the situation, we must not hesitate to take the responsibility, and that alone will help us to have a deeper insight into our capacity in dealing with the taste and tribulations. When we anticipated availability of the data, a hearty communication with the teammates made me understand that there are solutions. there are ways to let out your frustrations and anxieties. And there I could correlate the Alchemist from the book Alchemist. And when you want something, all the universe conspires in helping you to achieve it. Finally, I would like to conclude my talk with this one quote from Bhagavad Gita. Karmane vadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. Never be concerned about the result, just do your work with heart and soul, and success will follow. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Chetna. And it was a real heart-touching sharing and a lesson we all have learned that until you take responsibility, you don't get transformation. The transformation happens when you own the responsibility, you work for it, and when you reduce your support from others and travel toward independence, but being in a team. This is a few lessons that you're part of a team, but you have taken the responsibility of your own areas. Now, this transformation needs a lot of internal strength and ability to stand the physical as well as emotional resources which are being demanded by the system, by the processes, and the final outcome, which is in our vision, but the amount of anxiety, apprehension, so everything which gets combined. And upon that, when you start a journey, when you are not interested, again, I'm reiterating, because a lot of these things, when you start, it looks mechanical, like SCR. When we start working on SCR, it looks mechanical. But until we develop an insight, the resources, the knowledge base, and the final result, which is visible to us, sustenance needs a lot of resilience. And the journey to develop that resilience is a really important journey to listen those experiences, that what brings in resilience, both physical as well as emotional, to sustain and to march towards our goal. So, Tanveer, Dr. Tanveer, I will invite her to share her journey. And it is a beautiful transformation which all young people should learn, that how to take up that responsibility, sustain, and deliver. So, Dr. Tanveer, please.
Thank you, sir, for the introduction. I am Dr. Tanveer Sheikh, lecturer, Department of Psychiatry, MLDMHI. So, as Kumar sir initially said, that NAAC was thrown upon us. So, when we are not ready for something and something just comes, then we have to welcome it, is a point where we experience some kind of stress or hesitation. And that is the point where we need to build up, or in the process, we learn to build up resilience. Hence, I would be talking on building physical and emotional resilience to succeed and achieve in a team. The criteria which I worked upon was institutional values and best practices. So this basically comprised of the role of institution in incorporating values. So that was values and social responsibilities, the best practices of the institution, and institutional distinctiveness. So you may find it somewhat relatable because this is in alignment with the vision, mission, and values of our institution. So to understand how I was able to build up resilience, I would just explain my journey in short. So the journey starts with limited awareness, or I would say almost no awareness about NAC. And initially we would have some sessions. So I had some idea, but then gradually, how I increased the knowledge was a very gradual process. So that is how the journey started. The second important aspect was understanding the aspects of documentation. We homeopaths are used to documentation in terms of case reports or articles. but documentation of NAAC was a completely different one. And taking responsibility of your own criteria, I was allotted criteria 7, and halfway through, I also had to take responsibility of another criteria, that was criteria 1. So this speaks the crux of my whole journey. So journey to resilience, this is what basically happened. So working in NAC, as someone already said, that it was quite mechanical. So it was a sedentary work which I personally don't like or prefer to. And being allotted this work, initially we were allotted few weeks to be dedicatedly sitting in NAC. And so I think almost 2 months. So in those 2 months, it took me almost 2 months to get adapted to criteria 7. So now that I know that what is criteria 7, I took the ownership, I worked on it, and when we were very close to uploading, few weeks before that, I was allotted half of criteria 1. So that is when I think there was a quite stressful situations. Also because some additional responsibilities were already going on in the background. So that is where I experienced stress. And me in person, sometimes I get physical illnesses or tendency to hypertension. So all these things go hand in hand. So I would highlight how I went about it. So balancing responsibilities. These were the various responsibilities in the background. There were clinical duties, that is OPD and IPD management. There were academic duties, sessions, preparing assignments. NAC work was always going on. Even when we were not working in the NAC room, the NAC was going on. PhD entrance, I would want to highlight that all NAC champions appeared for PhD entrance amidst this process, cleared it, and all of them secured admissions to SCR workshop and symposium. So amidst all these scenarios, there were few things which helped me build up the resilience. So one is personal belief. I personally believe that whatever opportunity comes my way has something in it that I should explore and not reject. So that helped me accept NAC, but acceptance is not the only thing. So the second thing was intrinsic motivation, motivating my own self to get into this and get into the details of it and overcome all the challenges was helpful. One thing was taking a break when necessary. At times there was a breaking point, and if I would be stressful in that situation, maybe I would go into exhaustion. So diverting knowing yourself, your disposition, your defenses is very important, and it really helps you to develop mature coping mechanisms. So overall, I would say the transformation from rejection to ownership was something which really helped me. When I took the ownership of criteria 7 and when I took the ownership of criteria 1 is where I could deliver my 100% through following these few steps. So my learning in the process, coping with stressful situations. There were a lot of stressful situations, not just NAC, even other inspections and many other things. So this process helped me build my capacity to cope with such situations. Adaptation to these circumstances, it helped me to improve my productivity. Now I know I can discharge multitasking much better. And integration. We are used to integrate, we are and integration is the key of homeopathy. But integration in all the field is very important to deliver quality, and the NAT process and the building of resilience has helped me develop this quality in myself. Thank you.
Thank you, Tanveer. Tanveer demonstrates two classical aspects. One is the acronym of ICR is intense commitment to responsibility. So when responsibility was pushed on her, her commitment evolved and it was pretty intense. I've actually experienced it live. The second aspect that she was trying to convey is the tagline of the ICR logo, Yoga Karma Sukha in action. The amount of stress one can actually experience demand that your mind and body should be in balance. Only then perfect actions can be delivered. And And rest assured, Tanveer actually demonstrated this to us. But having said this for Tanveer, you know, the team that comes about for your rescue, which came to her rescue, is what she claimed. The team member who is a member of that larger team, if he is not adequately organized, and a disorganized team member who is defocused can really create a huge mess. Then the resilience really bounces off in a big way, and then everyone becomes resilient. Who better man than to talk about this disorganization to organization journey than Dr. Sachin Junagari? He's an excellent example for this. A man who is seen as a disorganized person can deliver things in an organized way when the water really reaches his nose. And everyone else is panting to breath. I welcome Sachin to the floor to share his journey about what happened in NAAC.
Thank you, Anup sir, for a beautiful introduction of mine. So my topic. It's my privilege to share my journey and a learning with you all on this auspicious day of ICRD. I think every ICRD has a dream to present some other time in his lifetime on this day. My dream was like this. So this dream has come true with the process of NAAC. And this process has definitely, as the word says, as this things have come up. Actually, I'm sharing my journey of how this self-organization and self-belief to facilitate and contribute to team success. Yeah. When the team was announced, as everybody had said, there was already existing this NAAC process was going on, and then suddenly the team process, new team had been declared. I had no escape. I knew that the thing is going to come in on my head because I cannot escape because all that I was the stockholder of all the documents. For last 3 years, I'm holding this all documents of the college and being this on the position of vice principal. Definitely, I had to deliver certain things. So there was a responsibility of criteria 4 of infrastructure and learning resources. So when I gone through this manual, I realized, oh, this is a very small area. But then next, immediately I got this responsibility of supportive member to NAAC team. When I had discussion with Anup sir, and then we had a meeting, and then suddenly it came on my mind, he shared, this person is going to give you the all documents to everybody. I was like, vice principal, which has not gone from my head, because he was busy with some other CPDC works. So these things were going on at the same time NAAC doings and this another small structure. See how these things comes up on your head and then you take up the different responsibilities. Initially you take a things comes and you are not aware about how these responsibilities are going to take on your head. So you know my experience? Then you tell me begun. We had a first meeting. We had been us given once good room. In fact, it was not easy, but it's okay, we could manage. So I had to just, it was very difficult for me to sit in a NAAC room because everybody used to approach me in the NAAC room. Sir, leave chahiye. And other members used to get disturbed because of this. What things going on? So I used to sit in my cabin. I every day used to go up in the morning. But then when the actually work started, all the champions started working on the respective areas. Obviously, the demand started coming to me. ये चाहिए, वो चाहिए, वो चाहिए. अरे, it's okay. Give me some time. I had to retrieve from the computer. Then some documents were not available in as what NAAC was required. So I had to retrieve from the mail. So it used to take a little bit time. So there was some balancing jigsaw was going on. So 1 week passed. I could not deliver anything. It will come. So I realized this is not the way I can function. because the things like it started tricking somewhere. If I won't deliver, the whole NAC process will get stuck somewhere. So I had to ponder upon what exactly the way should I work. So definitely the day of realization has come, and then I had to organize myself. No, this is not the time. First, start discipline on yourself, then you can only continue work things. And which is my against my disposition, because I'm the man of action. I deliver at the last time.